And for Armand de Brignac, they use the three types of grape that you can find in Champagne: Pinot Noir, Pinot Meunier, and Chardonnay. They use all three of them. But what's interesting about Armand de Brignac is the pressing process. Pressing as in, when we harvest the grapes, we need to press it in order to get the grape juice so that we can ferment it and create our champagne. Now, in most cases, I'm talking about in most cases like wine production, you want to press everything out. You want to press all the juices out, right? Because the more juices you have, the more wine you have. The more wine you have, the more you can sell. That means you have more money. But for Armand de Brignac, yes, they press the grapes, but they only press to a certain extent. We call it first press, or in French. Are you French? Sorry. Forgive my French if I pronounce it incorrectly. It's called tête de cuvée. Tête de cuvée is like during the pressing, they only take the first portion of the press. So they don't press everything out from the grapes. They only take the first portion. Is it 1/3 or 1/4? I don't know. It really depends on, but all you have to know is they only take the first press out of the grapes. So you get the nicest juice out of it. So what does it mean? Well, you get more fruit characters in the juice and a lot of acidity. And these two characters are very important when you make wine or make the base wine for champagne. Good fruit quality and also the acidity is very important when you make champagne. So that's one thing, for making the Armand de Brignac, you only take the first press, the tête de cuvée, during the pressing. Now, second, I don't know how many of you have really studied wine, but when we make champagne, there's one process called dosage. Well, dosage can mean two things. When we talk about dosage, like a dosage of a champagne, we're really asking or talking about how much sugar is inside this bottle. The unit is grams per liter. Well, I can tell you straight that for this bottle, it's about 9 to 9.5 grams per liter. So that's like the measurement of the sugar in this bottle. But it's not just the measurement, there's another thing. You all know that when we make champagne, how does it become sparkling? Well, we have a second fermentation inside the bottle, right? So we have the base wine, we put it inside the wine, but we actually put more sugar and we put extra yeast inside it, and we create a second fermentation where carbon dioxide is created. Well, a bit more alcohol and carbon dioxide is created. And when that carbon dioxide is created, and because it's closed, all that gas is dissolved into the wine. Hence, we have this sparkling wine. Now you know how we make this sparkling or champagne. But don't forget, we actually literally put this yeast inside. It's a solid, it's a solid thing, we put inside the bottle. So after it's done its job, it's dead. But we need to, remove it from the bottle. So when we remove the dead yeast from the bottle, at the same time, we're removing a portion of that wine or that liquid from the bottle. So we need to top it up with something. So what do we top it up? What do we top it up with? Well, we top it up with wine or sugar. Now, we have to top it up because when you remove something, you gotta top it up with some liquid. We top it up with the same wine. But at the same time, depending on what character you want in the champagne, you can add different levels of sugar into it. That will, determine the sweetness of your champagne. But let's forget about the sugar for a moment. The wine I want to talk about. Basically, all champagne houses, they have to do this dosage process. They actually have to top up with the wine because otherwise, when you buy it, well, you cannot see in this bottle because it's not transparent. But if any other bottles, if you see the level is at here, you question how come it's so low. Normally it should be up here, right? So that's why they need to top it up. Now, in most cases, I would say they would just top up normal wine. Normal wine from this probably, when they make their champagne. But in Armand de Brignac's case, they actually age the wine that they would use as the dosage. they will age it in French oak barrels for, actually, sorry, new French oak barrels for at least 1 year. You know, the wine that they use to for the dosage. It's not a lot, but it does make a difference. And when you use new French oak barrels, it gives you a lot of, what should I say, vanilla characters, toastiness, and some pastry characters. So because of new French oak barrels. Even it's only one for 1 year, but because it's new barrels, it gives a lot of that flavors and characters into it. So that's another thing that I think Armand de Brignac is proud of, or I should say very different from others, because they use a dosage, the wine has been aged, which probably I haven't seen other brands have done that. So that's another thing. And why we stress this is because when you taste the champagne, which probably most of you already have, you probably taste that vanilla character, some toasty brioche character. It's of course it's coming from the east, but I think it's also coming from the dosage that's been added into the champagne. Another thing we talk about